I like the Sony A7C II so much, I bought one for myself. That's the whole hook. Cue the intro. The Sony A7C II is the latest of two cameras in the A7C line. These are compact, more fashionable versions, if you will, of Sony's popular pro cameras. Now, we did a comparison video featuring the A7C II and the A7 IV, which is essentially what this is, just to try and see if we can find a major difference, and we really didn't notice much of any difference other than, the physical aspects of it. And we'll have a link to that video in the description if you want to see that. But there is something to be said for why you might want this over the A7 IV, and that's kind of what a lot of this video is going to be about. And now we are currently shooting this video on the store's copy of the A7C II. So this is the copy that we have in our showroom. This copy is my personal copy. That wasn't a joke. Like I put my sticker on it. This is actually a local artist named Jen Galaxy. She's amazing. I got the grip as well, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. But first, let's get some specs out of the way. The Sony A7C II features a 33 megapixel sensor capable of shooting in bursts up to 10 frames a second. It shoots 4K video up to 422 10-bit 60p. It of course has S-Log, S-Cinetone, all the other picture profiles that you might like. It's got 7 stops of in-body image stabilization, and no Sony camera would be complete without their incredible AI-assisted autofocusing, which if you've seen some of our previous videos, you've seen it's pretty spectacular. That being said, let's briefly discuss photo image quality, video image quality, and their performance there. As you might expect, photos are nice and sharp. Low light, my experience seems to be that up to 3200 ISO, you get very, very clean, very great footage. Between 64 and about 25,600, you get kind of varying degrees of grain, but without a lot of noticeable detail loss or any color shifting. And it's pretty much the same in video as well. Shooting up to 25,600, you still get pretty darn good usable footage. It is going to be a little bit grainy, but again, all that detail is there, and honestly looks still quite usable. And that makes a lot of sense. It has that wonderful backside illuminated sensor construction, so you are gonna get really good low light performance out of this guy. We have noticed that, the camera does get pretty hot while shooting video. I haven't really noticed a huge difference between this and the A7 IV in terms of overheating, but it is something you're gonna have to watch out for sure. Now, handling is a little bit surprising. As I've had this for a little bit longer than just, a couple of afternoons here and there, I have noticed that it is not super comfortable to use for long periods of time. When you look at it, it looks a little bit like the A6700. But it is a noticeably smaller grip. On an A6700, I can grab the camera with one hand, feel like my fingers and everything are placed well for shooting and holding and controlling the camera. This, it's definitely a lot smaller, a lot shallower, especially without the grip. But even with the grip, it kind of feels like my fingers have to do one of these to kind of hold up the camera properly. So with a small lens like this, which is the 40mm f2.5, it's great. It's nice and small. I can put this in a bag. I can put this kind of, I can have this on a strap at my hip or whatever. When I need to, take it up, take a picture. But it's when you get those bigger lenses on there that it really becomes kind of difficult to hold, because you're not really able to grip it with your whole hand, even with the grip extender. So I would highly recommend, if you are going to be using larger lenses, even like this 24-105, that's where you're going to definitely want a strap. You're going to want something where you're not having to physically carry it around all the time, because it's going to get heavy for sure. But things like my Zeiss Batis, various like super wide zooms, like 16-35 or the 12-24, like those definitely felt a lot better and were still kind of easy to hold. I would say this grip is definitely kind of a deal breaker for me. Like, having this extra grip does at least make it comfortable for like a 24-105. But again, I still don't think I'd want to shoot all day on something like this in a professional sort of all day shooting environment. But that's also not really why I got it. I've got nice cameras if I want to bring them. What I wanted was something small that I could take with me to work, that I could always have a camera with me. And that's the role that this filled, and it fulfilled it really, really well. Okay, so that was kind of a lot of little things really fast. And let's talk about what this camera is and what this camera isn't. So first, what it's not. This is not going to be an upgrade for an A7 IV user. If you've got an A7 IV, this is at best marginally better, but with worse ergonomics and a worse EVF and one less card slot. It's definitely not the kind of camera you're going to want in your hands all day with a heavy lens. Shooting an event with this being your primary camera that has, say, you know, a 24-105 or, you know, Tamron 35-150, it's going to get uncomfortable pretty quick. If you want a capable Sony video camera, there are better options for you. The FX30, the A6700 all have a lot more video functionality in terms of frame rates and things like that. Like this, it goes up to 60 frames a second, but you are experiencing a 1.5 crop. And you know, even though that low light video is good, there are still just better options from Sony. So let's talk about what this is now. If you've got an A7 IV and you just want a second A7 IV that's just a little bit cheaper, that you can put a prime lens on or like a smaller zoom as a B cam, there you go. This is gonna be perfect for you. If you're a Sony Pro who shoots on the A1 and the A7R and all that stuff, and you just want something that has all the Sony features that you love, this is the kind of camera that you can take on vacation. I think street photographers would like cameras like this. It's small, it's compact, especially with these new small primes. It's this tiny little thing that barely weighs anything. You can pull in and out quickly, gets great shots. This is a great daily use camera. This is the camera that I bring with me to work for fun. If I'm going to hang out with friends afterwards or going to a concert, take this with me. So it's really great for that because it is so small. And again, it looks discreet. It doesn't look like a professional camera, even though it is as capable as a professional camera. What do you think? Do you think this is just a lazy reinterpretation of the A7 IV? Or are you like me and you're like, oh, it's cute, I kind of like it? Whatever it is, comment below, let us know, we'd love to hear about it. All the video and footage you've seen today was shot using Delkin black cards. You should check them out in a link in the description. They're great. And remember, don't forget to take your camera out today. See you next time.